Who in the Lord's name does Putin think gives him the right to declare new so-called countries on territory that belong to his neighbor?
President Biden addressing the nation on the escalating crisis in Ukraine, now issuing sanctions against Russia. And a local expert will explain what could happen next.
Colorado is in a deep freeze right now. As the cold settles in, we're in for more snow tonight.
The wintry weather isn't stopping Denver's professional athletes from playing outdoors. We're going to hear from the Colorado Rapids about how they're bracing for the cold. 4 o'clock at 9 News starts now.
This is the beginning of a Russian invasion of Ukraine, as he indicated and asked permission to be able to do.
The crisis in Ukraine is devolving quickly and rapidly. Right today, the White House came out strong in calling the Russian forces moving into Ukraine an invasion. President Biden addressed the nation today and laid out harsh new sanctions on 2 large Russian banks and Russian elites.
Well, the Biden administration says it is still holding back its harshest of punishments, using those as leverage trying to prevent a broader attack.
As Russia contemplates its next move, we have our next move prepared as well. Russia will pay an even steeper price if it continues its aggression, including additional sanctions.
Meanwhile, today, the Russian parliament granted Vladimir Putin full power to use military force outside of Russia. This, as Putin indicated his order for what he's calling peacekeeping troops could be extending into eastern Ukraine, now that Russia says it is recognizing those states as independent. NATO allied nations have more than 100 jets on high alert, and President Biden announced that more American troops are moving into the NATO countries of Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. And Western allies like the UK and Germany are also enacting their own sanctions as well. So now, with these sanctions starting to take effect, many people here in Colorado and around the world, of course, wondering what will happen next.
9 News reporter Delisa Rosari spoke to a CU Denver professor to find out all the options.
CU Denver may be thousands of miles away. But for any student, what's happening between Russia and Ukraine, Professor Christoph Steffens calls
history in the making. And what Russia is doing right now is like throwing us back to the 19th century.
Over the last few days, the threat of Russian invasion has become a reality. Russian troops rolled into rebel-held areas in eastern Ukraine after Putin recognized their independence. The U.S. and other countries responded by ordering heavy sanctions against Russia, a move Steffens says could put Putin in jeopardy if these sanctions hit hard.
Russia is so vulnerable economically because most of their income comes from oil and gas exports. If we hit those, if we close them down, these pipelines, and then it's going to be extremely difficult, also for the Russian state. It is, of course, definitely a problem for Putin to stay in power if these sanctions hit hard.
Steffens says the possibility of Russian tanks making their way into Kiev by the end of the week is real. What happens after that is a piece of history that is yet to be written. Jaleesa Rosari, 9 News.
The international sanctions and the prospect of war are rattling world markets today and sending oil prices soaring, which could ultimately drive up the price of gas here in the U.S.
So as forecast, we woke up to bitter cold temperatures below zero, down in the single digits, wind chills even colder. And then we saw the snow swirling around Denver around midday. Well, there's another round of snow heading our way tonight. As we take a live look outside, things have warmed up quite a bit. I think I see 6 degrees out there. Kathy's in the weather center.
6 degrees.
That weather center is much warmer than the backyard.
Yes, yes, indeed it is. And hoping I will be staying in here more than being out there today. That is the plan. Not really a great day to be outdoors for man or beast. We're about 40 degrees colder than average right now, with our temperature hovering around 6 or 7 degrees. And there's more light snow coming. So outside we go. And we had about an inch of snow or so across the metro area. Another inch expected tonight. 7 degrees currently. And while we don't have a lot of wind, it's just bitter cold out there with wind chill values below zero, and they'll fall even further. Even in the high country, we've had winter driving conditions on I-70. The coldest air is still upstream. We have another surge of cold air that'll be coming in overnight tonight and tomorrow, and so it's going to be days before we break out of this deep freeze. We've got 7 at DIA, 6 in Denver, 10 in Littleton, 12 in the Longmont area, but this is how cold it feels on exposed skin. Wind chill -3 downtown, -5 in Greeley, -17 in Sydney, and -11 in Lyman. The areas in gray in eastern Colorado, those are wind chill advisories where we expect not only more light snow, which we're seeing now on that I-70 corridor from Colorado Springs out to Lyman into Burlington, but wind chill values that could go to 25 below. We'll see additional light snow move into the metro area over the next 6 hours, with some of the heavier bands setting up over Jefferson County and Douglas County, and that drive from I-25 down to Monument Hill, Castle Rock, and Colorado Springs tonight. We're probably going to see some pretty good snow coming into that area. Overnight snow, another inch or two possible here in the city. We go back into the deep freeze tonight, but the coldest air is east of us out on the plains, where we'll see those wind chill values go to 25, maybe even 30 below. In Denver here, we're kind of hovering around 7 or 8 degrees, and that number's going to bob up and down with some periods of light snow. Coming up, we're going to detail the metro snow forecast, and then when do we finally break out of the deep freeze? Might see some improvement, but not till Thursday. We'll talk all about it coming up.
Living for Thursday.
An explosion leveled a home in Westminster early this morning, and now police say they found human remains inside of that remaining structure. Cadaver dogs made that discovery this afternoon. Westminster police say the coroner's office will be releasing the identity once they've notified family. The explosion happened just before 3 a.m., that neighborhood near 36 and Federal Boulevard. Westminster fire crews responded and found that the house was destroyed and 2 homes on either side sustained extensive damage.
I was just kind of woken up, shaken out of bed like a big explosion, and I noticed the pictures falling off the wall, plants were knocked over, and I originally thought a car had hit my house, and so I looked outside, and then I could see the smoke and steam rolling from the house, and I knew exactly what it was.
Now the work falls to Westminster Police and Fire, working together trying to determine what may have caused the explosion. They say that investigation will likely take several weeks.
We know the names of 5 people killed by a fentanyl overdose on Sunday afternoon. The Adams County coroner shared those names today. Police say they snorted cocaine laced with fentanyl. The overdoses killed Sabas Marquez, Humberto Arroyo Ledesma, Karina Rodriguez, Stephine Monroe, and Jennifer Cunningham. They range in age from 24 to 32 years old. Police say one of the victims was the mother of a 4-month-old found in the apartment. Police say the baby is doing okay. Investigators are trying to figure out where the drugs came from. Coming up, we'll have more on the DEA's efforts to get fentanyl off the streets. In a little less than an hour, the Douglas County School Board will meet to talk about the timeline to hire the next superintendent. Last week, the board agreed to wait until tonight to keep discussing it. They did approve an amended version of the job description. The job is posted right now. So far, 30 teachers in the district have resigned in the last 2 weeks since the school board fired Superintendent Corey Wise without cause. It's not known how many of those resignations were to protest his dismissal. That school board meeting starts at 5.